can I just call you Ahsan? Will that be okay? You are the journalist. Normally you take interviews. So like this is the other way around. So I will take your interview. You're happy with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very happy with that because I find it easier. I find answering questions easier than asking questions.
Very good. So Ahsan or Shimul is actually my friend, long-term friend. He's my classmate in the college, in the university. We spent so many years together. But this guy is good. He was a poet. He's still a poet. He's a singer. He's a journalist. Obviously, he worked for BBC, now worked for Voice of America. He's our boss. So how are you today, Ahsan?
Very excited, very happy to talk to you after such a long time because our friendship goes back to 1987, 1988, even before that. But we became closer in our university days, and when we were studying the great literature, the literary books. I want to talk about a little bit about those books that we studied together later in the interview. But I'm very excited.
Good. So just a couple of things, just for my audience's benefit, just a bit of background might be a good idea. So one question I always ask that where were you born and raised?
I was born in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, and that was in 1970, August. And this is the month of August, and this is my kind of a special month. But I was born at a time when Bangladesh was going through the political turmoil, and the liberation war started soon after my birth. So I don't have any memory of the liberation war, 1971 liberation war that Bangladesh had. The West Pakistan, between the East Pakistan and West Pakistan, the struggle, and then the liberation happened in 71. But I don't have any memory of that, but I have a very strong sense of that. I grew up in a very turbulent political time. In the 70s, our founder, President Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated, who led the country into independence, was assassinated within a few years of independence. So that was an irony. And so I grew up in Dhaka, and Dhaka was very different from what we see now. Dhaka is now one of the most polluted cities in the world. But at that time, Dhaka was much less crowded, maybe also much less interesting, because I think my childhood was nothing extraordinary. My childhood was, I was going to kindergarten, I was going to school, and I hated school all my life. So my childhood was difficult because I remember when I was like 4-year-old, my parents took me to a kindergarten school called Little Jewels. That school still exists. It's one of the very well-known schools in an area called Purano Polton. And Little Jewels, students like there are other students who became famous later on from that school, like Nasheed Kamal. She also went to that school, and a lot of other people. But I didn't like it. I remember crying, holding the window all day long, from morning till I was being picked up by my parents. All day long, I used to cry and wait for my parents. And then I went to another school called Government Laboratory High School, that's next to Dhaka College. But it's in those days, spanking was a tradition, a strong tradition in schools. So my friends used to get spanked all the time, and I also had my share. And it was difficult. I would say school days were difficult for me. I don't know why. It's simply not in my blood. School, or even today, when I go to work in office, I feel like I'm in school again. The office hours that we have to do, I feel like I'm still trapped in school, and I wait for the day when I don't have to be confined in a place for 8-9 hours anymore. I will have the freedom, the economic freedom to be independent, do something independently. I'm really waiting for that day. Hopefully it will happen soon.
I mean, can I just like add a bit, because my memory with you is, I mean, I think the word I will use is you are always a free soul. You are like, free. You always aspire to be free. So like, which more or less kind of came out from your poems you were writing. And also like, because you've got a nice voice, you are a good singer. And there's like, all the songs we like used to listen to from you. I mean, there's a like sense of, this like urge for freedom always there. And also you were a good cricket player. I still remember, you were a good batsman. And I saw like the ball was flying away. The ball was free.
You have you have very sharp memory, I can see. Yes, the thing about freedom is not that only that I want to be free, I also want everybody to be free, because then it is even better. So I don't know, for some reason, I never learned not to, not to suppress myself. I never learned, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. I never learned to suppress myself. I always spoke my mind, and I don't know, for some reason, I can't resist it. I have to speak my mind. And I have to find the humor in life. I have to find something interesting to enjoy what I do. It's very important for me, and I think it's important for everyone. And I read Tagore for many years, because my father introduced me with Tagore, and Tagore is the towering literary figure in Bangla literature. He's the best in Bangla literature, as far as I know. And Tagore has many plays, many poems. Many of his writings talk about this, like, for example, a play called Bhul Sorgo, or a play called Ocholayaton, a play called Muktodhara. In all these plays, or a play called Rakto Porobi, in all these plays, we find central characters talking about freedom, free thinking, freedom, the importance of freedom, and how people have forgotten the importance of freedom, and the slavery, the mental slavery. Now the modern day slavery. I mean, he talked about that all the time, that do something that you enjoy. That's very important, even if it's not financially something big. But if you enjoy something, you do it, and your life will be different, and you'll be good for others. So this is what I got from Tagore, and then I found it in many other places. But basically, Tagore instilled this thing into me, I think.
So I mean, the question can be like linked with this kind of idea, your inspiration, your kind of philosophy as well, the idea about freedom. Like if you bring like your parents' role there, I mean, how much do you think they shaped your understanding about the life and the world?
To a large extent. And I think that's the case for most children, probably. But my parents, it's interesting because my dad was a voracious reader. He was a physician by profession. He was a doctor. He was a very successful doctor. And he lived a good life. He treated people for more than 50, 60 years. And he had a stable job. He had his own practice, private professional practice, and he was always busy. He went to work. He went to work in the morning and came back in the evening, and then went back to his private practice, and then came back late at night. We hardly saw him. But the thing was, whenever he had little time, and we had a library in our house, and lots of books there. Whenever he had little time, he used to take me to bookshops, buy me books, and ask me to finish them once. And he used to encourage me to finish them quick. And the moment I finished them, he used to take me back to the shop again and buy me more books. So it was kind of, for me, a competition. I used to read books quickly and tell him that, I finished them already. And I used to choose books from the bookstore. He used to take me to libraries, very few in Dhaka, but still there were one or two we used to go to. And I remember going there in the morning and staying there till evening, no food, no water, nothing, but reading books for like 8-9 hours. And the time used to fly because book reading was such a fun that I used to sit there and read books, and he was sitting somewhere and reading books, and the whole day was gone. So this is how he introduced me in the literary world, and that helped me in so many ways in my life, because I think it helps you discipline your thoughts. When you read a lot, I think your thought process in a way become disciplined. Thinking becomes your second nature. Saying less but thinking more, and seeing a thing from different angles, trying to see your own situation from different angles. For example, something is happening to me, something good or bad, and I'm trying to separate myself and see it from another perspective, from the other people's perspective. So it is very important to me, to anybody, I think, because the thing is, in life, you're always experiencing love and hate and pain and sorrow and happiness. And especially when you're going through a difficult experience, it is very important to interpret the situation.